Hey everybody, welcome back. I am beginning to build a computer. I want to build a computer for audio recording purposes. I showed you already that case that I salvaged off of the marketplace. And I got my parts together now. Mostly bought on a budget, things that are either on sale, special deals, or used or whatever. So I got used memory here. I already have the power supply installed in the case. That was in my last video. And I got a fairly cheap motherboard here. Got this from Newegg, but it's new. For recording purposes, I should be fine with it doesn't have to be the latest generation of CPUs. I got a Ryzen 7 here, 5700 with integrated graphics. I'm not going to install a dedicated graphics card. This is not necessary. Also saving money and space. So here we go. I got these DDR4 memories here from somebody on the marketplace. I got a new SSD, 0.5 terabyte, plenty enough. Eventually I'm gonna install a separate spinning hard disk drive to get more storage if necessary. For now, for the operating system and to begin, this should be fine. And the biggest challenge will be, I have this, I bought this a while ago, Asus sound card here, which is a really high quality card, but it's not a PCIe card. It's old school PCI. So what I did is, I got this adapter that can hold two PCI cards and connects to the PCIe port. So this will go in the motherboard's PCIe port. The card needs to be mounted separately, and then it'll connect, interestingly, via a USB cable. If I can get that to fit mechanically in the case, that's going to be my biggest challenge. We'll find out. For now, I just want to equip the motherboard with the CPU and memory before I pull the case and then install everything there. So just so you know what I'm up to, my purpose is I want to do some home recording of music. I want to run Reaper as a DAW there, and yeah, record guitar and then some digital drums and whatever. So I bought a micro ATX board instead of full size because the case that I have supports full size ATX, but I need that extra room to get this adapter fit somewhere. So I hope my calculations are right and this all will line up. Okay, here we go. Just in case somebody's interested, this is an ASRock B550M with an AM4 socket. My first challenge, I just noticed I can't find any thermal paste in the house. So I hope the CPU here comes with sufficiently pre-applied thermal paste. Usually nowadays, that is not a big problem anymore. Still, I'm not sure. Here's the CPU, here's the stock cooler. I'm gonna rely on the stock cooler for this. Okay. Okay, I'm a little surprised to find that although the AM4 socket here comes with these brackets pre-installed, where you would usually clamp down a cooler for AMD, this stock cooler doesn't come with the clamps, but more Intel-like with screws. I'm happy these are screws and not those pop-down rivet things. So it turns out I'll have to actually remove these here and just install the cooler directly, which I'm actually happy about because these clamp mechanisms I'm usually not a fan of. I'm just also stumped for a moment. So let's do this. The back plate should stay in place, I hope. We'll see what that looks like. So just regular Phillips head. Okay, the back plate just fell off. It's the annoying part because this is only held in place by the installed, either the bracket or the cooler itself. So I'm going to, this is going to drop out of the motherboard if it's not held by something. I'm going to put something under so I have enough pressure from the backside, so it can't drop away. Maybe just, great book I'm currently reading. I'll put that under and rest it on that plate, on that back plate. The camera a little. Those can't go anywhere. Okay, so first let's install the CPU here. Be a little careful with these AMDs, like the AM4 socket series here, because these are PGA sockets and they have the pins at the bottom of the CPU. If you drop this and you bend pins, you're creating a problem. Okay, so here's the arrow. This is an indicator for the direction. And here on the board, sorry, it took me a moment, I need glasses first. Here on the board, you see an indicator. This little triangle or arrow should line up here. Zero insertion force sockets means you should not have to use any particular strength. First you open the lever here. That whole socket moves a little bit, that means it's unlocked. Now you drop the CPU in this way, and it dropped right in. Now if just a single pin is slightly bent out of shape, it will not drop in. Now if you experience that it doesn't easily drop in, don't press it in, because now you're going to make it worse. You're going to bend more pins or bend that one pin completely flat. If you experience that the CPU doesn't drop in right away, take it, give it a good inspection. If it's brand new, try to return it. In my case here, this is perfect. Which makes me a little nervous. Okay, and then lock down that lever. Now it's installed. The pre-applied thermal paste here, I'm comfortable with. This should be sufficient. You don't have to go and buy new thermal paste for your original install. Now, if I ever in the future have to remove this, then yes, of course, I would have to reapply new thermal paste. But for now, it should be good. It should fit this way or that way. I'm just going to check where the fan connector is here, the fan header. Here, CPU fan is here, so the cable's going to connect here. So I'm going to install it this way. I don't want the cable to run across the memory. That's kind of ugly here. I'm going to install it this way. And now the rubber hits the road and we'll find out if this works. The screws are spring-loaded here. When you tie down a CPU, my hand's in the way. When you tie down a CPU fan, do it diagonally. Don't tie one side down entirely, just little by little. Okay, the thread seems to fit. So one side a little bit, a few twists, then the opposite side a few twists, and so on. You want that pressure to evenly distribute across the top of the CPU, so the thermal paste can spread out evenly. I like this much better than the clamp. All right. Huh, this one won't go in. Why is that? All right, this is good. So those screws went into the threads that are part of the clamp of the back plate here, and now this is all safe. Take the book away. Now I'm gonna install my memory. I got two DDR4 sticks here. Yes, I know this is not the latest and greatest, but I'm on a budget, and for what I need to do, this is fine. Also, I don't know if you have recently checked, this is December 2025. If you have checked memory prices, then you know what I'm talking about. You simply can't afford memory currently. Okay, so I got two modules. This is dual channel memory. In this case, the way ASRock labels, this means you should populate an A slot and a B slot because it's channel A and B. And to take advantage of dual channel, you need your two memory modules in two separate channels. So this would be A1 here, A2, B1, B2. I just checked in the manual. I always do that because there are sometimes recommendations on what to populate first. ASRock in the manual suggests or recommends to populate A2 and B2 first. Not sure why not A1 and B1, but if they took the time to write that in their manual, I'm sure they had a reason. I'm just going to go with that. Be careful when you install a DDR4 module that you didn't accidentally get DDR3 because they have the same size, same number of pins, but your notch here is going to prevent you from doing that. But don't ever do anything with brute force. Whenever you need strength to install something, something is wrong. Okay, this is backwards, this way. So these DIMM slots here, they open only on one side. This side is stiff. The little lock is only on one end of it. So you click that end first for clicks, then make sure you press down until that one clicks and the lever pops up here. This is ASUS memory. No, it's Hynix, labeled for ASUS. Hynix is one of the, I don't know, 3 or 4 companies in the world that makes memory. This is a set of 2 8GB modules here. For now, this should be sufficient. And I got this off the marketplace for little money. I had to drive a little bit, but given the current pricing, it was worth it. Click and click. Here we go. All right, don't forget to plug the fan power in here. It says CPU fan 1. There. Okay. Get the cable out of the way a little bit. I should actually tuck this away a little bit here first. Okay. If you ever just build a computer and turn it on for the first time, and you hear like a rattling sound, it might be your fan's cable or another cable resting on top of the cooler here, and the fan is hitting the cable. Very harmless, but sounds alarming. Something to keep in mind. Unfortunately, this motherboard's I/O panel is open. It's not like many of the modern ones have this as a closed block already and have it shielded off. Kind of a pity, because that always makes things a little easier and looks clean. Here we actually have to install the I/O shield. This is going to go into the case, and the purpose is not only to block dust from going in. The main purpose is really to provide proper ground for all the arrays of connectors here. Okay, time to get the case. Okay, here's the beauty. I'm still not convinced that this is actually good design. Yes, it's beautiful, but it has something very strange going on. Let me show you. So it has room for plenty of expansion cards, which is great. But see that? The bottom one, to be actually able to get there, I removed the fan from here. There was a second fan like this right here that covered the last slot. Now, in most cases, it wouldn't concern me, but this is probably exactly the space where I'm gonna have to install the adapter for my PCI card. So I'm gonna see how that goes. I have a horrible situation with the power supply here because it's not modular. Again, I'm on a budget, and I'm gonna have trouble tucking all the cables away. So I'm gonna need only 2 of them, 3 of them maybe, and the rest is gonna be in the way. Pull the panels off. I hope I don't have to switch to a different case, because I bought this for $15 and I love it just by the looks. So first I want to see if I can actually line up the motherboard in here. Okay, so these I'm going to need. All of this goes away. I'm probably going to tuck all the cables away in this drive bay here. These are front panel connectors, power button, front USB, etc. Get this out of the way. This is the USB 3 ports on the front panel. Standoffs are integrated in the case. So all I gotta do is take the screws out. Mounting screws already here. That is awesome. Yeah, but the cooling situation is a challenge in this one here. I don't know why they didn't just make this case a little bit bigger. It looks amazing. Just give it an extra inch in height or so, then you could have had an actual proper power supply spot. And the fans wouldn't cover up an expansion port slot here. Yeah. Okay, motherboard mounting screws are out. Before I proceed, before you install the I/O shield, make sure you double check which way it will match the motherboard. Board goes on like this, so shield goes on like that. Okay, just line it up and pop it in like so. Okay, that's good. The result is this. Alright, now I'm gonna find out if my plan with that PCIe adapter works or not. Alright. Board is in. For now I'm just gonna install 1 or 2 screws just to keep in the right spot here. It doesn't move. Now here's the plan. This space needs to somehow accommodate this adapter, and the audio card needs to reach here. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm already worried that even the other fan is in the way. This should function sort of as an extension of the motherboard, and it has mounting screws, but they don't fit anywhere here. They included a little bit of graphics here, very helpful, to make sure people don't install it backwards. They show what the card should line up like. So this is correct. This is how it should fit. It has actually 2 slots. So I'm gonna I'm gonna mount this adapter here and see if this lines up. Ah, yeah, but that's the problem. Yeah, okay. So if I put it in the right way, I can't mount it on the screws, on the those standoffs here. Yeah, this is the correct way. So I think this may be, I might be able to stick it, just glue it. But before I do that, I need to see which slot it would line up with. I hope the second one from the bottom would work. Yes, that's fine. Okay, that gives me hope. There's another bad design detail here. Because it doesn't have, the case doesn't have a proper power supply spot like other cases. It does this weird extension cord thing from here to the power supply, and this covers up the thumb screw here for that expansion port cover. I'm gonna take this power supply connector here out for a moment. Yeah, I love the look of this case, but a good design it is not. I believe I don't even need to mount the adapter. I think this is fine if it rests on these pieces of foam here. And it might be a little sticky. Let me just check. Can't hurt. But ultimately, yeah, it's sticky. But ultimately, it's going to held in place by the card anyway. The card will be mounted here, where it belongs. The thumb screw holds the card. And this thing is so light, it just sits in between. So here goes nothing. Card goes in here. Now, by the way, if you're wondering why is he installing this apparently old audio card, because PCI, as we all know, is kind of a form factor of the past. This is a really high quality card. I've been sitting it around for a long time. The fact that it's a PCI interface doesn't diminish the quality of the audio signal processing here. And I just want it in here. So now comes the big question: does this all fit together? And I have a good feeling that it does. Yes, it does. All right, before I do this, I'm going to install the missing case fan here. Okay, quick side quest. I had removed this fan because I was worried it would be in the way of that adapter. It's not. I'm going to reinstall it now. Secured the screws with some tape here. Back on the side. I can put this port cover back in for the bottom port because I'm not using that, fortunately. That's the one I thought I would be using, but everything lines up perfectly for that second to last. And that's actually ideal. So I can't say this enough. If you come across this case, it looks truly beautiful. But if design follows function, it's probably a D. Whoever designed this definitely paid more attention to the looks. I will make it work. So now the card with the adapter. I'm going to peel these off. The height here is perfect. I ordered this adapter from Newegg. It shipped straight from China though, so it took like 10 days till it got here. So it seems like it's very well designed. I hope it's also going to work. Right. So the card lines up here. Here it is. I'm just going to mount it like any other expansion card, and it sits right next to the motherboard, right at the bottom. So this would never work with a full-size ATX board, right? Because that would fill up that space here. That's the reason I went for a micro one here. But turns out my plan seems to work. And it's next to impossible to get those thumb screws in here, because this is in the way. But that's something I have to live with. Okay, finally. This was way more difficult than it should be. Okay, here we go. Now the other part of the adapter is just a PCIe expansion port. It'll go right here. It just covers up the front. And the actual connection is just a USB cable from here to here. Pretty clever. Okay, so this is this spot here. Wait, is that right? Yep. Cover comes out. Adapter goes in. And now you have a way to install any PCI card, if you ever have one, from some legacy purpose or whatever the reason may be. And you have a modern motherboard, you have a way to still use that card, given that your case is big enough and that you use a micro ATX board. I'll admit the cabling is a little ugly, but fortunately this is not a glass case. I don't out of mine. And here it is. Looks odd, but if it solves my problem, I'm more than happy to accept that. Okay, still have room for 2 other PCIe cards here. I won't need any, but just saying. Neat. Okay, now I gotta install or reinstall my power supply connector here. And then, of course, if you paid attention, you know what I forgot. I forgot to install my SSD. Okay, now it gets challenging. I don't know. I can't reach here anymore to install the nut on the backside. Yeah. Just another obstacle. I can't reach here anymore where this little nut has to go. So I'm going to try to hold it with a magnetic screwdriver. And I hope it's not going to drop anywhere. That is awful. Oh, it worked. Okay, now I just gotta hold it somehow, put a little pressure on here sideways. So it doesn't spin. Yeah, it worked. Okay, good. Now, my SSD should go in. Right here is my M.2 slot port. Here we go. This came, this was on sale. I got this for $70. Here we go. Just plug it in gently. And the cover will put it in place. Man, the space we wasted in the past with our storage and all the cabling versus this. All right, that's good. Now all that's left is getting all my power connections, fans, front panel, USB, CPU power goes right here. There. 24 pin, motherboard power goes right here. Okay, that's good. Now try to find chassis fan connectors for these three. Oh, these can be daisy chained into one here. So I only need one power connector. That's good. For both fans. There's a chassis fan right here. I have to zip tie a lot of stuff out of the way so it doesn't hit the fan blades. And another chassis fan connector. One at the top would be nice. There's one. If you have 3-pin connectors on your fans and 4-pin connectors on the motherboard, don't worry. They're universal and it fits only the right way. Okay, this is audio front panel here. I'm not going to use that. Tuck that away. Out of sight, out of mind. What I do want to use from the front panel is USBs and the power button, obviously. So hard disk drive, LED, don't really have that. Oh, here's the power switch, okay. Okay, now comes the goose chase for the right headers on the motherboard here. If it's not identifiable on the board itself, easily consult your manual. Here we are. I don't know if you can see that. Here's this panel. And on there it has markings for a reset button. I see power LED. But honestly, I'm old and it's a little small even with glasses. I'm just going to double check with the manual. Here it is. That is that connector. Power button should be the 2 here right next to the blank one. Which way you put it on doesn't matter because these 2 pins just bridge the connection. It doesn't matter if you put it backwards or there's no backwards. It's the same. Power LED matters though because the LED itself has a polarity. A little light that comes on inside your button. So my manual here says right next to the power button is the minus and then the plus. So here goes the minus and here goes the plus. And that's really all I care for. Before I continue, I'm gonna mount the rest of the screws here. Okay, now the front panel USB here. goes right here. There's usually only one that fits. Okay. Fan's connected. CPU fan is connected. Memory is installed. SSD is in here. CPU power, main power. My adapter doesn't require extra power. I think I'm good. I don't like this. Oh, it's tangled up here. Now before I'm doing any cable management, I'm just gonna move it, plug it into a monitor, and see if it runs. All right, so I gotta find out what's wrong here. The fan is running. Power LED works. Case fan is running. Extremely quiet. That's a nice surprise. But I get red status lights here and no video output. No video output. My first indication is normally something wrong with memory. My first hunch. But let's see. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove one memory module, just keep one in there, and move it along multiple DIMM slots to see if that makes a difference. If it doesn't, I'm going to use the other module. So currently I only have B2 populated here. It should be really plugged in properly. Sorry, I'm holding camera and flashlight here at the same time. I'm going to start at A2. I'm going to start at A1 at the top. I know the manual said to A2 and B2 first. I just want to be methodical here. Okay, one module in A2 in A1. Plug the power back in. And I see the red status light. Okay, they're flashing. They say boot and VGA. Well, that's fine. I don't have anything bootable yet. I just want to see the BIOS. Why does it say VGA? I didn't connect VGA. I connected an HDMI here. Alright, this was weird, but the lights are off. I didn't get any video out with the HDMI cable. I replaced it with a display port to the monitor. The monitor has also a display port. And suddenly I got an output. It said something about the CPU has been replaced. You want to refresh or reset something, press Y. I did that. Then I got some out. Now it's looking for a boot device, obviously. So I'm gonna prepare a flash drive now with probably gonna do Ubuntu Studio here. And I think we're good. The status lights are off. I don't know why before I could initiate this refresh or reset, why the HDMI wouldn't produce an output, but the DisplayPort helped me out here. So interesting experience. I'll prepare a flash drive and be back here.